Well, you've seen the shootout, and it's Holden versus Ford all the way down the grid. For the first time, you will see this innovation in V8 Supercar racing applied to a race. And to call the action, Craig Baird is with Greg Rust.
Billy, as you well know, it's a category that's, based on tribal rivalry between two key brands, Holden and Ford. We're looking forward to a great 15-lap race, the first across the weekend that we'll bring you during our massive coverage here on Network 10. Before we get to you, Craig, we might head to pit lane, in fact, and see what Daryl Beattie's got. Daz?
Rusty, I'm down here with the past champion, Rick Kelly. Rick, your feelings on the speed of the contenders in front of you for today's race?
Yeah, look, the system for us at the moment's worked pretty well. We qualified 5th. We're actually 3rd on the row. Look, I think it's going to be a little bit about track position. Whoever gets off the line well will generally stay there. There's a lot of rubber down from the F1, so it'll be interesting to see what that's going to do for our speed.
What about tyre-wise around here? What's the side that's not used the least? Is the right-hand side a little less used than the left-hand side of the car? Is that where you go with tyres?
Don't know, mate. I'm just worried about the heat at the moment. It's 38 degrees. I don't care about tyres. I just want to get to the end and be cool enough to have a couple of drinks, eh?
Don't you do it well, though, with cool suits? Don't you do it easy in these things?
At the moment, it's cooler in here than it is out there until about lap 3 when I start sooking up.
All right, thanks, Rico.
Thanks, enjoy.
Howie?
Craig Lowndes, you've just asked me if I know what I'm doing. Do you know what you're doing? It's pretty warm in here.
It's actually quite nice. Got the cool suit on. The cold water's pumping through almost through your veins. It's actually quite nice.
It's an awesome sight, isn't it, looking onto the Grand Prix straight. There's a bit of a crowd in. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty relaxed, I think, because it's not part of our championship, so we really have a chance just to relax and enjoy it. It's a new concept, obviously, the grid with one manufacturer being the Holden on the left, us being on the right. So we'll see what sort of start we get. We'll probably have a bit of a jostle, but, if we can maintain our position and see what the race brings, we know the car's going to be good towards the end.
Every year in this situation, you guys talk about the fact there's no points on offer, Lowndes. You're going to take it easy. Yet when it gets to the first corner, no one ever seems to be taking it easy.
I think the red mist, once you put this down, that's it. It clicks on. So, really for us, it's just going to get out there. The boys have instructed us they want to have a break over Easter, which means no crashing this weekend. So we'll just sort of see. But yeah, you're right. It's not part of the championship, but for our sponsors, this is one of the major races we get to, and biggest spectators we get to race in front of. So we'll be trying.
Good luck, Lowndesy. Daryl?
Well, Jace, points obviously a big thing here, and as a driver you always want to win races, but because it's a non-championship round, you still fight for that victory?
Oh, absolutely, mate. We come here to win races, there's no doubt about it. It'll be good. Holden's looking pretty strong here as well, but certainly I'll be doing my bit to win some races.
You're going to get rid of this car pretty soon and into a new one. You're looking forward to that?
We really are. I was surprised how well this car's done this weekend, and the new ones are definitely going to be better, just a matter of how much better.
All right, Jace, thank you.
Thank you, man.
You can hear it in the voices of the drivers, Craig Baird, can't you? I mean, there's this relaxed feel about this weekend. But at the end of the day, you blokes are all the same, whether it's billy cart racing or V8 Supercar. Once you're underway,
I think Lowndesy summed it up very, very well. He says as soon as that visor goes down, mate, the red mist is in. So each of these guys want to win this race, and believe me, even the guys sitting on grid 20 will want to win it.
We're going to sneak a quick break before we get underway here with the V8 Supercars. Come back and join us for the race start in just a few moments. They're the brands, the marks Australians know and love. Ford and Holden, they are about to go head-to-head in the Sprint Gas V8 Supercars Manufacturers Challenge. Let's take a look at how they'll grid up. Tander and Lowndes in the front row. Rick Kelly, former champion, alongside Stephen Richards. Jason Richards, alongside last round winner Will Davison. And Mark Scape, who was disappointed. He had a great start to his shootout lap, but the second and third sectors not so strong. A moment for Mark Scape. Cam McConville will keep an eye out on his progress in the WOW Racing Commodore. And Russell Ingall, he had a pretty reasonable run, Craig Baird, at Eastern Creek, and continuing that form, I guess, here. But unfortunately, because of this Holden versus Ford scenario where we have one make down one side of the grid and one make down the other, in qualifying there were 6 Holdens in there. Russell made the top 10. He was the unfortunate Holden to get bundled out.
Yeah, he got bumped for Stevie Johnson, but that was the rule, 5 and 5, so he was the loser on that occasion.
So Holden claims the first scalp of the weekend, courtesy of Garth Tander. With pole position, he heads the grid, as we mentioned. All cars of that make then line up behind the pole sitter. So all the Holdens on the pole side of the track, the Falcons lining up behind Craig Lowndes on the other, Shane Price at the rear of the grid, and the winner of this particular race will have pole for race 2 here this weekend, and so the scenario unfolds again. The best finishing Holden will line up behind that winner if it's a Holden driver, and vice versa if it's a Ford. We're going to have this, you know, either side of the grid scenario all weekend.
Yeah, it's certainly a battle between the marks, isn't it? They're always fighting against each other, and it's going to be never as strong as this weekend. I think Garth Tander, he's obviously a very good starter, always is a good starter, so he'll be looking for a clean getaway, and he's going to be very hard to beat.
It's a non-championship event, but in order to determine the event winner, we do attribute points to them. 100 for a race win, so a potential 300 on offer for the weekend. And while there's plenty of prestige in being the driver who's first, I guess, over the finish line, if you've amassed an army of Falcons or amassed an army of Holdens, you could be the winner of the Manufacturers Challenge. So there's a bit at stake here, and at the end of the day, although they drive for different brands, and Holden guys have been pretty good at working together in the past, bit of criticism for some of the Ford blokes after the Clipsal 500, at the end of the day, you're all racers. You want first place at the end of this game.
I think the big bosses would have told them to work together a little bit over this one. If we look at the coverage from Adelaide, it's time they got together, and especially with this format.
Gee, it's good to have them back here at Albert Park. The boys really missed being a part of the Formula One ING Australian Grand Prix last year, but many of them were here in a corporate capacity anyway, so they were watching the F1 race in the stands. Great to have them back and racing. Garth Tander, fittingly, the current champion, is on pole, and one of the greats of the game, Craig Lowndes, lines up beside him. Craig's, of course, won Bathurst and Sandown since he defected from Holden to Ford many years ago now, but a championship has so far eluded him. His own teammate, Jamie Whincup's had a brilliant start to the year, so Triple Eight Race Engineering with a very good package. Holden with the newer of the cars. Ford, of course, unveiling their latest road car very recently, and they're excited to get that in race car trim, a part of the championship. They're saying it could be on track as early as mid to late season. Set for a start in the Manufacturers Challenge. Tander to the right of your screen, Lowndes to the left. Here we go. Some wheel spin from Jamie Whincup, and James Courtney pounces in the background. Great start, Rick Kelly. But our race leader is Tander. Look at Stephen Richards looking down the inside of Rick Kelly. He'll get there for third position too. Kelly out wide. I think Jason Richards too runs wide off the exit of turn 1 and 2. They head down toward turn 3 now. This is the thing you're concerned about the most, Craig. Tander in a good position here. Clear air for everybody else in these very warm conditions. It's tough, and they're getting muscled wide here as well through turn 3.
Look
Lowndes.
at Tander. Tander's just stretching away. These guys are fighting so hard. Tander's probably stretched 50 metres up the road. He's gone.
It's cooled off a little bit compared to the Formula One session, albeit fractionally. The ambient is 35 degrees. The track is cooled from 48 to 43. But that's still really hard working conditions for these guys. It's a 15-lap race. No pit stops like we're used to seeing in the championship. Look at Cam McConville, that Brad Jones Racing Commodore. So used to seeing Bradley's team running Falcons. Got to get used to the fact that they're Commodores now. And he's chasing another young star in this championship, Lee Holdsworth, running for Gary Rogers' team. He had a great run at the Clipsal 500.
Jamie Whincup making a pass.
Lock break there. I think that's for Russell Ingall. McConville through on Lee Holdsworth. Richards trying to find his way back. Bit of touching. Whincup goes wide. Whincup off. Defensive from Will Davison as he fends off Mark Winterbottom there, the Ford Performance Racing entry. Stephen Richards, the last time the V8s were here in 2006, enjoyed 2 race wins. Someone's had some trouble there and everyone diving left and right. Murphy is on the back of his teammate. Oh, contact! Richards and Lowndes have touched. Lowndes goes around. Richards struggling to hold it together and almost coming together with his teammate, Mark Winterbottom.
That was so close to taking his teammate out there.
Poor Richo.
Back round.
He cannot take a trick at the moment. Back with Will Davison, who's now by Rick Kelly. Mark Scaife closing in there as well. Mark Winterbottom, so lucky. And so is Cam McConville. Murphy doing a good job.
Will Davison certainly benefited out of that. He might have gained even 2 places on that.
Look in the background, Todd Kelly, who's had good success in the past here at Albert Park, formerly with HRT, now with the Jack Daniels outfit. Jason Bright moves through on his teammate. Let's go to Darryl.
Yeah, Rusty, it's interesting you say Richo can't take a trick at the moment as he enters pit lane, but I guess there's a little bit of a positive out of that, even from that shootout lap when I spoke to the team. They said they've finally found something in the front end that really suits Richo, something he's wanted to try for quite some time, and they've found some good direction with that car. So hopefully this will put him in good stead for the rest of the championship.
Right, that's an interesting comment that Darryl makes there. Look at Jamie Whincup using plenty of real estate. In fact, it's Lowndes, I should say, as he fights his way back. That's Lowndes, I think, is it?
He'll be pretty hot under the collar, so he'll be just wanting to push back through. And
wow.
Look at Tander's lead. He is just romped away from this.
How much is that worth to him, that clear air?
It's massive, not only temperature-wise, but he'll be able to drive very clean and keep the tyre. They're only getting 2 sets of tyres. They've got 3 races, so it keeps magnifying. It just makes his weekend better and better.
Russell Ingall sits in 6th position at the moment. He's made the switch during the break from Ford back to Holden. Won a couple of Bathursts for Holden with Larry Perkins' team. Won a championship for the Stone Brothers and Ford. Andrew Jones arguing there with Jamie Whincup.
We spoke about it earlier that Greg Murphy's a great racer and he always comes out with a result. He's just a massive mover at the moment. He's moved up 5 or 6 places. He's already caught Jason Richards. He's right on the back of him. So it just proves how good a race driver Greg Murphy is.
Inside the top 10, Greg Murphy.
In fact, he's moved up 9 positions over 3 laps.
Look at the intensity of Craig Lowndes.
Yeah, he is not a happy camper.
Replay of the start. Loads of wheel spin from Whincup. And in the background, James Courtney pounces. Lowndes defends. Stephen Richards sneaks up the inside of Rick Kelly.
Yeah, and you just see Jason Richard here. He gets pushed a little bit wide. That's where he lost quite a bit of ground.
And the contact was with...
Andrew Thompson got spun there.
And the Bottle Magic entry, I think it was, or the Bottle entry of Tony D'Alberto. Look at this.
That's car control right there.
And this is how it unfolded. Richards tries to sneak down on Lowndes. Almost saves it, but not quite, Stephen Richards.
Yeah, he locked a brake going into the second to last corner. You'd almost have to put the onus back on Stephen Richards there. He's just tagged the back of Lowndes, and it's just a momentum. I don't think he meant to do it, but it's just turned Lowndes around. And yellow flag out there. Someone's obviously off in a section.
Go to pit lane for an update, Mark.
Stevie Richards, the boys have just been having a look at the replay. How did you see it live?
Oh, Lowndes, he left a hole there, and I went up the inside and thought I was in far enough. He didn't really give me any room, so one of those things you're trying to take the best opportunities you can. And Craig was having a bit of a wobble on that lap because obviously his tyres were taking a while to come up to speed. So yeah, oh well, what do you do?
Straight into the pit lane and straight out of the car. What type of damage, Richard?
Flat tyre. Yeah, probably some bent steering.
Not having much luck at the moment, are we?
We'll get there. You're gonna make your own luck.
See you out there tomorrow.
Thanks.
It's funny, I saw a yellow flag waving out at turn 11 there, but we haven't been able to pick up what that was for. But
we jump on board with Craig Lowndes. This is Fabian Coulthard, the young Kiwi, to the left of screen. Left of Craig's car, I should say. And Lowndes makes the move. Coulthard driving for the Paul Cruikshank outfit. Jason Richards is car 3, his teammate, Murphy in 51. It looked as though Todd Kelly was struggling for a bit of drive there coming through the final few corners. And James Courtney in the background there as well. He's had a tough start to the weekend, Craig. They discovered after that incident for him at Eastern Creek that he had a damaged anti-roll bar in the first session here of practice. He said the car was an absolute handful. and they didn't discover it until late on Thursday, so that put him right behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, because you've got to remember also the first race at Adelaide, he was the form on the field. He was pulling away half a second a lap, so he's got pace. We've just got to get it all together and get it working on the day. Gee, they get close to that wall on the way out of there.
Cam McConville inside the top 10. Jason Richards, Ingle doing a fantastic job. The thing I wanted to point out, not necessarily to Stephen Richards, but on the back of that interview there a moment ago, was that's not ideal. The two Ford blokes coming together. This is meant to be the manufacturer's challenge.
This is what we were talking about beforehand, but as always, race drivers are race drivers, and they just want to get on with it.
Fastest lap of the race so far, Will Davison at 2:188. Rick Kelly, who, when that incident unfolded, how lucky was he as well to escape relatively unscathed? I'm sure there's some damage, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him thus far.
Yeah, exactly. Will Davison, he's got a lot of pace in this car at the moment for sure. Fastest lap of the race. He can see Tander up the road. But look, Tander can pace himself here. He has to do nothing stupid. No point burning up tyres. He's got to do a race on these tyres tomorrow. So he's in a very good position, but Will Davison will certainly be trying to close that gap.
Race distance around 80 kilometres. They need approximately 55 litres of fuel. Shane Van Gisbergen there. He's a newcomer to this circuit, Craig, a young Kiwi, youngest driver in the field, and gee, he's been impressive since he's made his debut.
Yeah, Ross and Jimmy, they've got a find there. Look, this is his first time here, qualified 14th with one practice session, so that was a very good effort, and he's just got a lot of potential. He's so mature for such a young driver.
Let's go to Darryl.
Craig, you've spent a bit of time with the Stone brothers before and actually driven for that team, and I was amazed to hear Ross Stone tell me today, he goes, this is the first race meeting that Jimmy Stone has not been to in a long time. So I guess Jimmy's at home or in the workshop working on that new car for James, but amazing Jimmy Stone's not at the circuit.
Yeah, as you said, I think it'll be the first one he's ever missed, but I can guarantee you one thing, he won't be sitting at home with his feet up. He'll be in the workshop with the big screen on and probably still got a welder in the other hand.
We'll say good day to him, and if he's not watching our coverage, I know one thing he will be watching. He'll be watching NASCAR on 10 HD. He absolutely loves NASCAR.
He is very, very passionate about his motorsport.
Watching Craig Lowndes
He's got good pace. He's got good pace.
In fact, that's Whincup, I should say. Jamie Whincup chasing the Tasman entry of Greg Murphy. And Lee Holdsworth behind. Then Andrew Jones, the BOC Gases Commodore, as it is nowadays. Their ex-Holden Racing Team cars.
Someone else we haven't seen much of on screen, but really moving forward is Russell Ingrid. Russell got bumped out of that 10, but he's certainly moved up through the field.
He joked about it at the time too. He said, hey, I thought the Holden blokes were supposed to work together. He ended up being the 6th of the Holdens in the 10 and unfortunately missed the shootout. From 11th to 6th for Russell Ingall. Greg Murphy from 17th to 10th. There's just some of the progression in the field for you. Whincup, an eye on a spot in the top 10. This is a great battle, and Andrew Jones starting to step up to the plate as well.
I can tell you what, Murph's not going to make it easy here. Holden versus Ford.
Spoke to Lee Holdsworth at Eastern Creek, managed to go out and catch up with him on the Friday of practice. He said he's just really enjoying this season with Gary Rogers. Feels like he's taken another step forward, just in maturity terms. Really good bond with the crew that worked there. They've made some changes to the car and making it, I guess, work the way he likes it. You spoke about that before. Some engineers like the driver to drive the way they feel the car will perform best, but I guess it must be a compromise for you guys, is it?
It's an absolute compromise, and that's where you need to find a working relationship with an engineer. You need to find that balance. And I think the other thing is Lee Holdsworth, he doesn't have to prove to anyone anymore. He's proved he's fast, he's a great race driver, very mature guy. He just has to get on and do his job now. There's no pressure.
On the inside of Murphy through that long sweeping left-hander, he'll get the job done. Jamie Whincup, the Vodafone Ford, picks up a spot and he moves inside the top 10 now.
Greg, it's interesting that you speak about Lee Holdsworth. And I had a chat with him this morning. He was saying that engine they got in the car, obviously this year they are running the Walkinshaw engine in that, and he's giving him great speed. He said it's just a hybrid. There is more to come. We do not doesn't yet have the full spec. So if you look at the way Lee Holdsworth has impressed the V8 Supercar category this year, he's saying he's got more to come with engine.
And there was a change for that team too during the off-season. Dean Canto parting ways with Gary Rogers. He'll now be a part of the endurance lineup at Ford Performance Racing. And young Michael Caruso, who's been in the development series in the recent past, done very well in Formula, like Formula 3, for example. He steps up to a full-time gig with Gary Rogers, and he said to me at Eastern Creek, "Whew, how hard is the competition when you're playing at the pointy end here?"
Oh, it's tough. But look, Gary Rogers, that's one thing. He always finds young talent. He always is prepared to give them a go, and that's a big thing.
He did that with Garth Tander, who's gone on to become the series champion. Did it with Jason Bargwanna as well. But it's Tander leading the way in clean air from Will Davison and Rick Kelly. The Manufacturer Challenge continues right after this. Tander, the untouchable, leads the way. And you're watching 10's live coverage of the V8 Supercar Manufacturers Challenge at Albert Park. We will take you right through to the end of this race uninterrupted. Tander enjoys a 6-second lead over Will Davison at the moment. Todd Kelly, by the looks of things, is struggling. A 2-minute 1.4. Now watch Fabian Coulthard here on the replay. This is Kelly struggling to begin with. You read on what happened to Coulthard there?
Yeah, he's just locked up the rears. He could do nothing about that. The rears over the bumps, and look, he's back on. He's lost a couple of positions, but lucky to get out of the gravel, to be honest.
Now, a reminder too, as Andrew Jones in the BOC Commodore ventures off, this race is 15 laps or time limited. It will finish by 4:25. Jamie Whincup so aggressive on Jason Richards as he picks up another spot. Inside the top 10, James Courtney way down in 18th and struggling. We can have another look at the replay of Whincup.
That's how you muscle someone out of the road.
Craig Lowndes, well, he's moved his way back to 13th position. That yellow's still on display there.
That's for the tyres. Someone's clipped the tyres on the apex and brought them out onto the circuit. So I think we'll see those tyres stay there for the remainder of the race. They're not in a dangerous position. They're on the inside, if anything. So, but it's just a shame because it does take out a passing opportunity.
Some 1,100 officials make this event possible. Here's James Courtney on Jason Bright down at turn 3. How close do you like that? Oh, Courtney!
He's actually cut right through the car park section there, so he may even get a drive-through penalty on that one.
The point I was going to make before about the officials is we spoke to one of the top men, Tim Schenken, race director for this one earlier in the week, and he said tyre bundles, we're going to police that, you know, pretty closely too. So Russell Ingall, he's come out absolutely swinging 6th and doing a great job. He joined the Paul Morris Sirame team, if you like, at the beginning of the year, brought some super cheap backing, and they're doing a fine job. Here's another replay. There's the contact, Courtney versus Bright.
I can now see why he cut through there, but that's two guys fighting for the same piece of track. But look, there's probably nothing in that. At the end of the day, it's probably a racing incident as much as anything. Simon
McNamara, the motorsport boss of Holden, said they are... Whoa!
Oops, and that's
return
the
serve.
payback.
So Bright in the Fujitsu entry. Lucky to keep it off the wall. Look at this.
Yeah, that's just taking someone out, really. There's nothing else can be said. He was obviously not too happy about what happened over at the car park, and
oh, the boys were going at it for
yeah, and that's a bang. See you later.
Final turn, which brings them.
I'll be interested to see what happens
post-race,
or if a drive-through comes out of that one. But look, they'd been hitting each other for half a lap, so give and take, I guess.
We'll update you on all of that tomorrow. Some V8 Supercar action right across our 3 days of coverage. And a big day tomorrow, of course, qualifying for the Formula 1 ING Australian Grand Prix. Here's the Tasman team, Jace Richards and Greg Murphy, backed by Sprint Gas, who this week jumped on board to sponsor the supercar race. Someone's had a lock up there at Ascari, I think that is. Was that Jamie Whincup? Keeps it together if it was. Stephen Johnson, great effort for the Dick Johnson crew. Both their drivers in the 10, but it's Davison who's second at the moment. continuing that hot form from Eastern Creek. And this is Johnson fighting with the Tasman Commodores. The winner of this race, we should clarify, much like we saw in the shootout, the driver who wins it at the moment, Tander, enjoys a 5.7-second lead. He will start from pole for race 2, and they will line the manufacturers up accordingly. So all the Holdens will start behind the pole sitter. The highest place Ford, which at the moment is second, Will Davison, he'll line up on the outside of the front row, and the Fords will be behind him. So
at this stage, it certainly looks like the same guy is going to be starting from pole position with a long line of Holdens behind him.
They pay points back to the top 12 cars. Looks like the drive-through for James Courtney.
Yeah, it had to come. You can't just drop kick someone like that. So, but anyway, I suppose it's a non-championship round, so it's just payback time.
Remember, this is a time-critical race as well. Scheduled for 15 laps, as you can see at the top left of your screen, but it could, on the current times, finish maybe a lap earlier. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Stephen Johnson getting a huge amount of pressure there from Jason Richards. He looks like he's almost lost the rear tyres a little bit. He's starting to back this little bunch of cars behind him. He'll have great power in these Jim Beam cars. He really stretches away down the straight. Cameron's looking pretty relaxed there, taking the hand off.
Gave the right arm a bit of a break by the looks of things.
Bit of a breather. Believe me, he'd be working hard in there. It looks a lot easier from the sideline than when you're saddled up in there.
Understand that we could have a safety car situation potentially here in Albert Park.
Car number 1 is the leader. That's the car will be coming towards you. We have a tyre bundled in the middle of the road at turn 4. We'll be removing that. Over.
Race control, we have car 1 in sight.
The view inside race control, Tim Schenken to the left of your screen, the race director, a very accomplished racer in his day, drove for Ferrari and sports cars, and of course competed, represented Australia in Formula 1. And we could see from Cam's onboard just how awkwardly positioned those tyres were right off the very end of that left-hand sweeper. We've had a local yellow there for some time. Safety car situation now.
Someone
5 minutes to clear it, or we will finish under safety car.
Yeah, someone that's going to be very happy is going to be Will Davison, because he's going to have a chance at Tander for the last couple of laps. That's going to be cleared within 30 seconds. Someone will jump out there, push them back onto the inside, and we'll be back racing. It's going to make for a very interesting race towards the end. And Will Davison, don't forget, he won the last round at Eastern Creek, so he's got more than enough capability to take it to Tander. More tyres.
So that's another one. This is off the final sequence of corners. So that's separate to the one off the back of the left sweeper that we saw when we rode with Cam there before. So the officials will go to work. The point I was going to ask you was, when you're in this situation behind the safety car, it's enormously hot. What things are you trying to look after and try and, if you can, keep cool?
This actually makes it hotter because there's no air circulating through the car. The heat soak in the cabin, this is the worst time. The quicker the cars are going, the more airflow, the better off they are. But look, what you're trying to do at this stage, someone like Lowndes, he's probably caught the car in front, and it just gives you another opportunity. They know there's going to be 2 or 3 lap sprint to the end, and they'll be pushing on.
Now, we'll update you through our broadcast over the weekend on the aggregate, the manufacturer's points. What they do, they pay right back to 12th for each manufacturer. So the 12 best finishing Holdens, the 12 best finishing Fords will accumulate points towards the manufacturer's challenge, and we'll keep you posted on those over the weekend. Mark Scaife, 4. He's P4 at the moment. 3.5 minutes remain to the end of this race. Just crunching the numbers, we could have a 1-lap flyer scenario to determine this race. Tander leads the way from Davison and Rick Kelly. And Mark Scaife, Winterbottom, Russell Ingall, Cam McConville, Jamie Whincup, Steve Johnson and Jason Richards. You talked before about Richards struggling with those rear tyres. What can you do when you're in that situation? I mean, is it a minimisation process? What do you do?
You've just got to start driving the car a little bit straighter, try and be a little bit easier on the throttle, just let the tyres come back a bit. Look, this lap or two under safety car will certainly bring the tyre temperature back down a little bit, the tyre pressure will drop a bit, and then they'll be back into it.
Getting ready for a restart. You can see the lights out on the safety car here. Crowd have braved some very hot conditions at Albert Park today for Formula One practice, and everyone really pumped up about the return of V8 Supercars to Formula One and one of the signature sporting events in this country. It's an event we should all be proud of. And here's Tander leading the way in what could be a one-lap sprint to determine the finish of this one. The Holden Racing Team driver will lead the field. Remember, no overlapping until you get to that start-finish line. That's why Rick Kelly now starts to search for air. He waited till he got to the start line.
Rick actually had a very, very good restart there, but just couldn't do anything with it. He had to wait until that start-finish line. That's Marcus Marshall with a fair bit of damage to the back. Now, that's a concertina effect. Someone would have accelerated, someone slowed up, and bang, 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 they all hit the back of each other.
Conville facing pressure there from Jamie Whincup.
Under Engel.
Great progress. Engel goes wide. That's a shame. Whincup is really hungry off this restart. His car looked pacey too just before the safety car came out, so he's wanting to make the most of this situation now that the gaps have closed up. Tander tries to bolt. 2-minute 1:08 was the lap from Tander prior to the safety car. His best prior to the safety car coming out. Look at the gap he enjoys already.
Exactly, he's had a very good start, but one real loser in this restart's been Russell Engel. He's really been pushed out left, right and centre. He's probably dropped back as many as 6 places.
Gutsy effort by Russell. Let's have a look here. This is the view from Cam McConville at turn 4. Whincup makes contact with Russell Engel, so it wasn't evasive action for Russell. Far from it, there was a touch.
Yeah, Engel's actually dropped back behind Lee Holdsworth, so he's really dropped some spots here.
The rears on that Team BOC Commodore of Andrew Jones dancing around there. You ride with Craig Lowndes. Good battle here. Lowndes is 13th. Look at them all. Jones. He's on the outside. Engel thinks about sneaking through.
I think Engel's got a problem.
Checkered flag has been waved. Tander takes it. So it was on the time. Tander wins from Will Davison and Rick Kelly. Mark Scaife and Mark Winterbottom. And what a battle amongst the manufacturers. Gee, there was... Look at the damage to James Courtney's car. Michael Caruso, some battle scars on the Valvoline Commodore, but this guy, not a mark on the Holden Racing Team Commodore. Tander, superb. The race finishing on the time. 14 of the 15 scheduled laps. He banks 100 points. He will start from pole for the second race of the weekend, and the Holdens will line up behind him. Will Davison, terrific job for the Dick Johnson crew, and he'll be on the front row as well, and the Fords will in turn line up behind him. Rick Kelly claims 3rd place. Mark Scaife up there also for Holden.
Mates, they finished it on time, so he's off. He won the race.
Sounds like Garth may not realise they've waved the...
Race is over, mate.
They're telling him to back off.
You need to come back to pit straight. They've finished the race on time, so you're back to pit straight for the celebrations.
Well, that's understandable. It caught everybody by surprise. The checkered flag, I think, coming out just as Garth was at the line, so his vision may have been just maybe a little obstructed. And here are the results for you. Race 1 of the weekend. Holden takes not only pole, but the first race victory as well. Will Davison keeping that great form from Eastern Creek. 2nd, Rick Kelly up there, the former series champion. Mark Winterbottom, just 1/10 of a second behind Mark Scaife. And Jamie Whincup, a solid recovery from him. Stephen Johnson in the 10, and so was our Cam McConville. Lowndes recovers after that contact with with Richards to be in 13th. Bill, what a race, what a start, the Manufacturers' Challenge.
It doesn't seem to matter, does it, Rusty? What's at stake here in Melbourne? The V8 Supercars go at it hard and fast. Here's what's in store tomorrow. Teams will have one more practice session to sort out their pace. Some will be fine-tuning, others desperately chasing, because at 2 o'clock they have to be ready. Qualifying will again be 3 frantic periods where it's all about surviving for the top 10 run off the pole. We'll back that up with a blaze of colour. The V8 Supercars out for more tribal warfare in race 2. The Aussie racing cars with their breathtaking bounce and bump. Australia's sporting greats get into some flying Fiats for the Celebrity Challenge. And we'll take you everywhere you want to go backstage in the bold and beautiful world of Formula One. Very hot conditions here today, very trying for all the teams, not just the Formula One teams. It'll be hot again tomorrow, though not as hot as we saw today. And guess what? If you've just recently joined us, definitely on the times across 2 practice sessions, McLaren and Ferrari dominant by nearly a second, but Mark Webber, the best of the rest, well positioned for more action tomorrow. Hope you'll join us for that and more on Network 10.